Lesson 22. By heart. In this text, we'll talk about actors learning their lines by heart. Now first, listen to the story with this question. Which actor read the letter in the end? The aristocrat or the jailer? 最后到底是哪个演员读的信？是那个贵族还是那个看守？
Some plays are so successful that they run for years on end. In many ways, this is unfortunate for the poor actors, who are required to go on repeating the same lines night after night. One would expect them to know their parts by heart, and never have cause to falter. Yet this is not always the case. A famous actor in a highly successful play was once cast in the role of an aristocrat who had been imprisoned in the Bastille for 20 years. In the last act, a jailer would always come on the stage with a letter, which he would hand to the prisoner. Even though the noble was expected to read the letter at each performance, he always insisted that it should be written out in full. One night, the jailer decided to play a joke on his colleague to find out if, after so many performances, he had managed to learn the contents of the letter by heart. The curtain went up on the final act of the play, and revealed the aristocrat sitting alone behind bars in his dark cell. Just then, the jailer appeared with the precious letter in his hands. He entered the cell and presented the letter to the aristocrat. But the copy he gave him had not been written out in full as usual. It was simply a blank sheet of paper. The jailer looked on eagerly, anxious to see if his fellow actor had at last learnt his lines. The noble stared at the blank sheet of paper for a few seconds. Then, squinting his eyes, he said, "The light is dim. Read the letter to me." And he promptly handed the sheet of paper to the jailer. Finding that he could not remember a word of the letter either, the jailer replied, "The light is indeed dim, sire. I must get my glasses." With this, he hurried off the stage. Much to the aristocrat's amusement, the jailer returned a few minutes later with a pair of glasses and the usual copy of the letter, which he proceeded to read to the prisoner.
So it was actually the jailer who finally had to read the letter. When the text opens, the jailer decided to play a trick on the aristocrat. But when it ends, we read, much to the aristocrat's amusement, it was the jailer who had to read the letter. 就是说，这个狱卒的恶作剧并没有能够奏效，只是在这个时候，他才发现自己虽然和这个 aristocrat 一起演了这么多次，他也记不住这封信的内容。但这是不是意味着他成了被捉弄的对象呢？ Actually, both actors were very quick to react to this unexpected situation. 他们两个人的反应都非常快。这个 aristocrat 想出了一个借口，说 "The light is too dim." 这个狱卒呢，也跟着想出了一个救场的办法，说 "I have to get my glasses." 所以说 both of their wits make up this story. Okay, now we'll look at some language points in the text. Some plays are so successful that they run for years on end. When we use run to describe a play or a film, it means continue to be performed regularly in one place. If we use it to describe an event, it means continue. 那么 run 在这里就表示一些戏剧会在某处连续的定期上演。I'll give you one more example. The play will run for only 2 weeks in London. 这出戏呢，在伦敦只会上映2个星期。On end means continuously, for some time. So for years on end means continuously for years, 连年上演. Look at this example. He locked himself in his room for hours on end. 他把自己连着几个小时关在自己的房间里。One would expect them to know their parts by heart. Part means words and actions of a particular role in a play or in a film. Part 是指在一出戏剧或者一部电影中某个角色的台词，当然还有动作。Here, know their parts 就是说能够熟记他们这个角色的台词。Look at this example. He is now learning the part of Romeo. 他现在呢正在背着 Romeo 这个角色的台词。Never have cause to falter. Falter means become weak and then stop. Her voice faltered
as she tried to explain. 当她试图做出解释的时候，就支支吾吾起来。Yet this is not always the case. Be the case means be the situation. 情况如此。课文中这句话意思就是，观众们期待演员能够熟记台词，其实情况并非如此。Look at these examples. This was found to be the case